Hi everyone, today we are going to meet a missionary family from Africa. Thank you for being with us today.
I am Vinoji Samuel, missionary to Africa, currently working in Malawi. Let me introduce my family. Here is Joyce, my wife.
Hi.
My daughter Julia. Hi. And also my son Joel.
So, brother Vinoji and sister Joyce, can you share something about your mission field?
Sure. Right now we are working in Malawi, in the outskirts of capital Lilongwe. It's about 15 miles from the city center, but we are in a village. There are hundreds of villages, unreached villages in those parts. So we are trying to reach those unreached villages with the love of our Lord Jesus Christ and trying to make a difference in their life, in the spiritual way, a material way, in the way that is every way that is possible.
So, I know you are from India. India itself is a mission field. Not many people are going from India to mission work to Africa. What led you to Africa?
That's a very good question. Many people have in fact asked this question. Actually, we did not intend to go to Africa as such. We want to go to an unreached village in any part of India, and we are praying about that. But God in His wisdom and in His will has guided us to Africa, and this is what it happened. In 2003, a brother named John Kurian, he is an itinerant preacher. He went to Kenya for the mission work, and when he came back to our church, when he shared about the wonderful opportunities, and God has given us a thought, and that's how it started. And we prayed 1 year, and we made a visit in 2004, especially me, for 2 months. And during that visit, God has confirmed and convinced that we should go to Africa. So I came back, and within 3 months, everything was arranged, and we ended up in Kenya as missionaries with my family, with my wife Joyce, and with 2 kids.
So, how was your initial days in Africa? How did you adjust to the situation there?
Actually, initial days were really challenging and some troubles. We were really just like any other pioneering missionary field. So we are trying to reach to people, and bit by bit, God has helped us to make some contacts into the people and make inroads into their life, and also learning the culture and trying to understand people and their customs and culture. It's a real challenge, and after all, the most important thing in mission is to love the people and understand their culture. You're not trying to change their culture, but you're trying to understand their culture first. And it was a challenge, but all in all, we could learn it slowly, bit by bit, and learn about that.
So, what all countries have you worked in Africa? How was the people over there? Was they receptive, and what's your overall experience over there?
We started in Kenya, and then after a few years we moved to Tanzania, and it is from Tanzania we developed the work in Malawi. And our overall experience is like Africans are generally very friendly people, but with regard to the mission, many of them said that we were the first Christians they ever met, and we were the first missionaries they ever met from India. So that was a challenge, but God has helped us to reach to them and understand them, and people are generally friendly and very receptive. Maybe Joyce has a little more to share about how she got involved with the mission work, especially with the kids ministries in Africa.
So since the time we went to Kenya, we always focused on kids ministries. So we didn't know how to start the ministries, but when we went to the villages, we understood that there is a high chance of having a good children's ministry there, because children had to be taught the Bible and also hygiene and many other things. So that way we got a breakthrough so we could reach their parents, and the parents also started coming. So until today we do the same whenever we start a work in a new village.
Let's talk about Malawi now. I know your main focus is in Malawi, and what are some of the challenges you face in Malawi, especially with village ministry and several other ministries?
Yes, that's true. For the last 10 years, we are focusing mainly in Malawi. One of the main challenges we faced in Malawi, since we started the work from scratch, and finding the leaders, faithful leaders, was one of the challenges. But all in all, God has helped us to meet that challenge, and we could start a Bible school to train the young leaders. And most of our works are centered, God has given us a mission center. Most of the works are centered around that. And there are many churches in the village. As churches are coming up, we need to buy the land, build the houses. And not only that, with the believers and evangelists who are working for the Lord, they may not have the houses, they may not have food, and they don't have the clothes, and so many other things and challenges and difficulties they face. As pioneer missionaries, we just look into all these things and try to help them as much as we can. That's what we are doing for the last 10 years, but God is helping us remarkably, and that is what Malawi is.
So, guys, as missionary kids, I know you have to go through several struggles and adjustments to be part of Africa and to settle there. And Joy, can you share some of your experiences in Africa?
So for me, Africa has been a great experience. I loved living there. It's a beautiful place. The people are really nice. So the time there was a good time. Also learned a lot about different cultures and about missionary work in general. I would say one of the only struggles was when we moved around. We changed friends a lot. Other than that, it was generally a good experience, and I still love Africa. I would love to go back there, visit, or even stay. So yeah, that's my experience.
So, Julia, what are some of your experiences in Africa?
Like Joel said, there were a lot of struggles moving from place to place. But one thing we really learned is how to trust in God, seeing our parents' faith that really had an imprint on us and how they trusted in God for everything. And that had a big effect on us, and it still does today. And their faith in God has really impacted us. And that's one of the highlights that stick out to me from our experience in Africa.
So, Brother Vinoji and Sister Joyce, I know you had a calling for missions. And how did you make that decision to be missionaries in Africa?
That's a very good question. When I was 14 years old, I read a book on Dr. David Livingstone's life that really impacted my life. Ever since that, I had a great desire to be a missionary. But I was continuing my studies when I was doing my undergrad final year. When I was 19 years old, I made a decision to serve the Lord. And eventually I decided to study the Bible for a few years. And after that I came back to teach in the Bible school. But I always prayed that I wanted to be a missionary, and I wanted to marry a person who is fully committed for missionary service. So after coming from the Bible school, when I was teaching in the Bible school, so God led me to that partner who is fully committed for the mission work. Then God has trained us maybe 10 years in Kerala, but because of the decision together, and we could make that decision to go to Africa together. That was very important.
So, Sister Joyce, how about you?
So my experience is, I had an uncle who was a missionary to Malabar. So it was from his life I understood that it is possible to lead a life of faith, just trusting in the Lord. And also my parents played a big role in my life too. And in 1992, I attended a mission conference. In that conference, when one missionary from a remote part of India shared about his experience, that was the time I committed for full-time ministry. So when it came to marriage, that was the only thing I wanted to make sure in my future husband was about the vision. That was the only thing I wanted to make sure that he also have the same vision. So that was how we got married.
So, Brother Vinoji, I noticed your shirt. It looks different. Where did you get that from?
Oh, you like this? I'm happy to hear that. This is from Kenya. I like anything African, and this is so nice, very comfortable to wear.
So, Brother Vinoji and Sister Joyce, what advice you want to share with our viewers, especially those who are looking forward to work in the mission field?
We are always delighted to know that there are so many people interested with the short-term and full-time mission. The advice we just want to give them: you must be passionate about what you are doing. As the word says, Matthew 28:19 and 20, the Great Commission: go into all the world and preach the gospel and make disciples. And at the end of it, we see that I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Amen. That's what it says there. So we must have that love and passion for the mission and for the people. And we are not always working with our head. When you are in the mission field, and you are going to work with your heart most of the time, and then head. That is how it is going to be successful, and that is how it is going to be useful.
So, Brother Vinoji and family, thank you so much for taking your time to be here today. And for our viewers, thank you so much for watching. And I hope this interview would be an encouragement for you, those who are looking forward to be a part of missions. And this is Talita John Chaco signing off.